G'day everyone, welcome one and all to Guvs hero review video for the legendary red hero, Grill, the Duke of Combustion. Now Grill is the latest hero added to PuzzleCombat, being the featured hero of the month for June 2023, where you can get a copy of him as the bonus draw of any hero summon performed during that month. After June, however, Grill is only going to be attainable from the Manor of Legends portal, starting in 9 months' time. So we're talking March, April 2025 is when you'll next be able to get a copy of Grill. That Manor of Legends portal, it rolls around once every 4 weeks. It's on a monthly time slot at the moment, and it does have some pretty bad odds, all things considered. So the Manor of Legends portal has a 1% chance to gain a featured hero of the month and a 0.9% chance to gain an unfeatured hero of the month. So if you were to do 100 summons in that portal, you'd have a 63.4% probability of gaining either of the 2 featured heroes of the month and a 59.5% probability of getting one of the unfeatured heroes of the month. Now those odds do drop off a lot when you're targeting a specific hero. So if you're going after someone specific, say Grill, when he is the featured hero of the month, it's just a 39.4% probability of getting him when he's featured, but just a 2.0% probability of getting him when he's unfeatured, noting that that number will diminish further as more heroes are added to that portal. So currently the odds are 2.4% when there are 37 unfeatured heroes, but when Grill is finally added, there's actually going to be 43 unfeatured heroes in that portal. So yeah, not the greatest odds. During the time when he is the featured hero of the month, though, we can see he does have that 1% as a bonus draw. So it means if you were to do 100 summons across the entire month, across all of the different portals, there is roughly a 63.4% probability that you would get a copy of Grill. Now, it's not to say that everyone's going to get one, obviously. If 10,000 or 100,000 people did 100 summons, roughly 37,000 of those 100,000 people would not actually get a copy of him. So yeah, the odds don't guarantee anything, unfortunately. Taking a quick look at his artwork, so thank you very much Fearless Phantom for passing this through. We can see this is the Duke of Combustion's artwork. So naturally, as any good Combustion Duke would do, he does have a shotgun which is on fire. I'm not convinced that that is a normal mode of operation for a shotgun, but that looks to be what it is. I mean, I'm not a gun expert or anything like that, but it kind of looks like it's got the pump action there in his left hand. So, but anyway, it kind of looks like, I don't know, I tried to draw some comparisons to like the TV show Dukes of Hazzard, but the closest that I could get, or the closest thing, was this style of collar was about the only thing I could really get. But he looks kind of like that dude that like hyper fixates on something and then all he wants to talk about is that one thing. So yeah, Grill just looks like that kind of guy that is just super hyper fixated on combustion and burning things, and that's all you'll ever talk about him. He's like, did you see that flame? Like, that flame was awesome. But anyway, so that's his artwork. Feel free to pause it if you wish, but otherwise, I'm going to jump back across and we can take a look at his card. So normally the next thing I'd sort of discuss is his family bonus, but as we can see on Grill, as with all of the past heroes of the month so far in the game, there is not actually a family bonus on these heroes. Maybe someday SGG might add one to him, but at the time of this recording, there is not actually a family bonus for Grill or any of the other past heroes of the month. He does have, in his personal stats, he comes in with 726 attack, 782 defense, and 1,492 HP. So there is a little bit of a skew going from that attack stat towards the defense stat. I should change my color palette, but let's see, what can we do? Blue? All right, there we go. So there is a little bit of a skew going there from the attack stat towards the defense. It is quite minor though. It's not really too substantial. His power as well, it is high, obviously. He's the highest now of the heroes of the month, but compared to the highest power hero, Topaz, he's still a little bit short. So Topaz is 742. So all that means is that Grill has slightly less base stats that are distributed amongst his 3 stats there. So higher power means higher stats, essentially. So that's pretty much how the power creep works in terms of the stat distribution. Yeah, so his charge speed is set to 40, which is slow speed. It does require 12 tiles to charge, or 6 ghosted tiles. The speed break happens at +3, so 43 speed, so you can do that using any of the red speed guns in the game. There's 2 5-star options, the Firewing Trig and the Chekhov SVK. Both of them give you a +9 speed improvement, and there's also a 4-star option, which is the Tigger Happy, and it gives you a +7 speed improvement. The double break does need to get up to speed 50, which obviously can't be done using weapons alone. However, if you combine the +9 speed gun with the 2% charge generation node from his class tree found at +19, you do actually get that double break. So notably, you do have to combine a +9 speed gun with the 2% node though. So charge node is relevant if you wish to double break him and you're willing to push him that far down the class emblem tree. On the topic of class, he is a member of the Demolitions class, which grants him the chance to shell shock the enemy, removing their buffs from the targeted enemy whenever they deal damage. So the removal of the buffs will also trigger a flat 15% damage increase per buff that's removed, as well as a 50% damage increase from normal damage, i.e. tiles and the like. Personally, I love the Demolitions talent. It's a free chance for Dispel, as well as getting bonus damage without you needing to actually charge any special skills, fire them, target them, or anything like that. So typically, I will give a +1 improvement at the very least to all of my Demolitions class heroes once maxed. Flipping over and having a look in my roster, and we can take a look at a Demolitions class hero. So here is a Demolitions class tree. Ignore the fact that this is Blair, because for now it's going to be Grill. So what I would recommend doing by way of an emblem path, I would definitely go the defense and HP route. And the reason for that is to enhance his survival, because for me, the best part of Grill's skill is the elemental defense down. And so you want him to be surviving as long as possible and as many hits as possible to get that EDD out as much as possible. So what that looks like on a tree is we are going to pick up the defense and HP nodes at each turn. There's no real choices, because each time there is a branch that is doing defense and HP, as opposed to a branch that does something plus attack. Now, I did mention about the +19 node. It is situationally relevant. So if you do wish to charge break him, grabbing that +19 node is quite valuable. I mean, it does do that double break, but otherwise you can stop him earlier in the tree. I would not recommend going to +20 though. So +19 is like the absolute highest, if not earlier, if you're not intending to get that double break on him. So yeah, that's the class tree that I would recommend doing for Grill. All right, let's jump back and we can take a look at his specials, not in that portal, his special skill. So his special skill is titled Brutal Barbecue, and at level 10 skill and 40 charge speed, just noticing that barbecue is okay, anyway. So yeah, his skill is Brutal Barbecue, and at level 10 skill and 40 charge speed, it will deal 250% damage to all enemies. It will then apply a burn ailment to all enemies, dealing 351 damage over 3 turns. And finally, it will apply a -48% defense down ailment against red for the next 3 turns. So, couple little things going on in there, some of them probably more interesting than others, but we'll start with the damage component, because that's the first part of his skill. So, damage is very easy to calculate, but it does have a lot of variability in it. So, for comparison's sake, I compare heroes based on their attack power, which just removes that variability, and it is analogous to their final damage output anyway. So, attack power is just their attack stat, 726, multiplied by the percentage in their special skill, 250%. And we can see that on Grill, that speed normalized attack power, or attack power per tile, comes out as being 151 per enemy. So 5 enemies, you multiply that by 5, and that gets him his total attack power per tile. But for normalizing sakes, 151 is pretty good, right? It comes out there as number 3 of the red AoE 5 hitters in the game. It is also number 8 of the 44 options in the game, so there are ones that are definitely better than him. You can see Ruby is in there at 260% and doing 837 attack, or defense really, coming in at 181. You've also got Scarlet, who does 231 after doing all 3 casts of her skill, as well as, you've got Rudolph, 126, Wheels, 124, and so forth, down that list until we get to Cutlass at the bottom at 100 attack power per tile. So some pretty good options in there at the end of the day. And yeah, as I said, Grill comes in as number 3 of those red options. So it is good solid damage at the end of the day. In terms of an AoE 5 hitter. Moving on from his direct damage, we can look at the delayed damage, or the damage over time. So that's the burn ailment. So he will burn all enemies to have 351 damage over 3 turns. So off the bat, obviously, it is a DOT, it is an ailment, so that does mean that it can be resisted, withstood, it can be reflected, reversed, turned into healing, all of those usual fun stuff, as well as being cleansed. So there's no guarantee on this burn damage actually proccing for the full 3 turns, or even proccing for 1 turn. But that is the case with all DOT, so not anything wrong with it, just something to obviously be aware of. The damage itself, 351 over 3 turns, is high. Typically for a 5-star hero, the DOT we see is 309 over 3 turns, so 351 over 3 is a little bit higher. It comes out as being a 117 damage per turn compared to 103, which is normal. So there's not anything, I guess, game-breaking or mind-blowing about that increase in damage, but it is obviously higher than normal. I don't think there's really anything else to say about this. It is, as I said, it's just a burn ailment. It's pretty stock and standard in the game at this point in time. So, yeah, it does obviously enhance his direct damage as well. So you go from having his direct skill damage to then also doing 351 damage over 3 turns as well. So, yeah, a little bit handy in that regard as well. The final part of his skill, which is for me the main part or the best thing about him, is primary ability, which is the elemental debuff. So all enemies get minus 48% defense against red for 3 turns. So like I said, as is the case with Cutlass, Rudolph, Pumpernickel even, and all of those other heroes, elemental defense down I see as being one of the key abilities in the game, right? It is one of the best things you can bring to a fight where you're color stacking that element, because it doesn't just enhance the one hero, it enhances all the heroes of that color, as well as enhancing all of their tiles and all of their minion strikes and so forth. So any direct applying damage coming from a red source will deal more damage. It is enhanced by that because they have less defense against it. It is particularly valuable, obviously, against war machines, because in those situations, you are probably going to be bringing 4 or 5 red heroes in that one fight. So not only are their special skills getting that massive boost, but all of the tiles as well, because you've got more heroes, you've got more attack stat, which means you've got massive, massive damage improvement there as well. Obviously, handy in wars and raiding and events and all of that sort of thing as well. Anytime you're color stacking, elemental defense down is very, very powerful. So the skill itself, minus 48%, 3 turns, both of those standard for elemental defense down. There's not really anything too unique in any of this. The damage increase, like with all elemental defense down, it comes out as being like a 225-ish% damage increase, roughly on average, just because of how the damage calculation works. So defense feeds into the denominator of the calculation, so you're dividing by 1 minus 0.48, so effectively dividing by 0.5, which is a 2 times multiplier, and then it's also raised to an exponent as well. So it kind of goes up by double plus a little bit more. So yeah, elemental defense down, super, super, super powerful effect, and well worth leveling Grill just for that effect, even if you didn't have anything else of use in his skill. So overall, like Cutlass, like Rudolph, like all of these heroes, Grill is going to be a really great hero to add to your red stack teams. It doesn't matter where you're using that red stack team. It can be war, it can be tournaments, it can be raiding, it can be eventing, it can be war machines. If there's a red stack, Grill, like all of the other elemental defense downers, he's going to improve that stack. Period. There's nothing else about it. The most immediate comparison that Grill is going to get is to Cutlass, because they are effectively the same hero. They're both 5-star red heroes. They both do elemental defense down. They're both demolitions class. They both do burn. They both do AoE 5 damage. There's so much similarity between them, but Grill is just slightly better in every aspect. He's got more damage, he's got more burn, he's still got the same elemental defense down without losing speed or his class, which is typically what happens. You give a little and you lose a little. But in the case of Grill, he is actually just better than Cutlass. Obviously, the big difference is that Cutlass has a family bonus and Grill does not. But, and this is a big but, Grill is a lot more accessible to the majority of the player base than Cutlass is. So Grill is just stand up better than Cutlass. But ultimately, Cutlass is also not the benchmark for Red. For me, the benchmark for Red elemental defense down is Rudolph. And like is the case with Cutlass, I would personally still take Rudolph over Grill. And the basis for that is the Dispel that Rudolph has and the speed. Now, it isn't to say that Grill isn't a fantastic hero. He is well worth leveling up. It's just that rare situation, or maybe not rare, but that situation where you're in a position and you can try to choose between your different options that I make that comment. So yeah, Grill, great hero. Rudolph, just a little bit better. Cutlass, a little bit worse. So that would be how I would rank them. So for Grill's grading, that could be the name of his... Anyway, for his grading, I'm going to give him an A- for War and Raid attacks. As I said, fantastic hero, great option in a stack. Probably not a standalone hero, which is something that Rudolph could do. Rudolph can be a standalone because of his Dispel, but Grill doesn't really have anything that would allow him to be a standalone hero. For the War Machines, I'm going to bump him up to an A grade. Elemental defense down, as I said, so key. It's one of the key abilities in War Machine fights to get maximum damage output. Eventing as well, if you're going to use a red stack like Tightwise or anything like that, Grill is a great combination with them because he's going to enhance all of your red tiles as well. So good option there. In the War and Raid defense side of things though, Grill, like all elemental defense down heroes, they don't typically work well on defense teams because you do usually need a second hero from that color to really get the benefit out of it. So I'm going to give him a C+ here. His damage and burden still could go okay for him, but yeah, as I said, best position, possibly flank, but you'd have to have another red in the opposite wing or flank position. Like, you need 2 red heroes to get the best out of Grill on a defense team. And even then, the AI sucks at timing, so you could end up firing him and then the ailment running out and then the defense team firing again. So anyway, C+ for War and Raid defenses. In our 3 tournament settings, so Bloody Battle, there is no healing, no reviving, so it doesn't really change too much there. I am going to bump him a little bit because of his burn element, so typically cleansers are less common in Bloody Battle situations, just because most of them are tied to healers. So I'm going to give him an A grade for Bloody Battle attack and a B- for Bloody Battle defense. On the Buff Booster tournament, nothing really in his skill contributing to buff boosters, so I'm going to leave him at an A- for attack and a C+ for defense. And finally, for charged attack, I'm going to give him a bump again, because obviously he goes from 40 speed up to 65, which is a marked improvement. So I'm going to give him an A grade for charged tournament attack and a B grade for charged tournament defense. So overall, for grading, that comes out as being an A- for his overall attack grade and a B- for his overall defense grade. And that concludes the content that I have for this review of Grill. As always, these are just my personal thoughts and opinions on these heroes. I do love hearing your thoughts and feedback on them, so please do drop down and leave me a note in the comments. I'll try to read and respond as much as I can. If you did find this video to be good, useful, helpful, and enjoyed it, feel free to like it, subscribe to my channel and all of that, but most importantly as well, share the videos around, because if this sort of thing is useful for yourself, chances are it's also going to be useful to other people you play with as well. So thank you once again for tuning in and joining me for this review. I do hope I will see you again soon in another video, but until then, good luck, stay safe, and happy gaming. Cheers, bye!